Okay, so for today's deep dive, we're doing something a little different. We're building a bridge across 8 centuries
That's right. From a, 13th century convent in Flanders.
right into a 21st century digital music studio. It's quite the leap.
It really is. We're looking at this album, The Seven Manners of Holy Love, by an electronic group called TATANKA.
And the core idea, the tension here, is that they've taken these incredibly old, mystical writings about divine love.
From Beatrice of Nazareth, a Cistercian nun, her descriptions of mine, or holy love.
Exactly. And they've reimagined them using, well, very modern tools, AI-assisted composition, big cinematic sounds, even trance elements.
Yeah, it's this fascinating collision, taking these, deeply personal, almost physical, medieval spiritual ideas.
And filtering them through technology that can often feel, quite impersonal.
So our mission today, for you listening, is kind of threefold.
Okay.
First, we need to unpack Beatrice's original map. What are these seven manners?
Then, look at how TATANKA actually did the translation, the artistic choices they made to turn these concepts into sound.
Right. And finally, why does any of this matter now? Why is this sonic pilgrimage, as they call it, relevant for someone maybe searching for meaning today?
Sounds good. Let's start right at the source then. Tell us about Beatrice of Nazareth. Who was she?
Well, Beatrice lived around 1200 to 1268, a Flemish Cistercian nun.
Okay.
And she's really important historically because her writing, The Seven Manners, is among the very first mystical texts written in the vernacular, in Middle Dutch, not Latin.
Ah, so making it more accessible, even back then.
Exactly. Taking spiritual experience out of just the elite theological circles and putting it into the language people actually spoke and felt.
And the central idea she works with is min.
Yes, min,
Oh.
Middle Dutch for holy love. It's the absolute engine driving the whole thing.
How does she describe it?
She uses this framework called bridal mysticism. You have to get this to understand the text.
Bridal mysticism.
It frames the soul as the bride and God as the divine bridegroom. It uses the language of intense, intimate, human love and marriage.
They talk about spiritual yearning.
Precisely. It's not abstract. It's deeply emotional, very physical in its metaphors even. It's about transformation through relationship.
Got it. And she lays out this journey in 7 manners or ways of loving. You said they're overlapping, not just steps on a ladder.
That's right. Think of them more as like modes or expressions of this love that intensify and shift. The first 4 are really focused inward.
Okay, what are they?
It starts with manner 1, love that wounds, a kind of piercing pain that actually awakens the soul's longing.
Starts with pain. Interesting.
Yeah. Then manner 2, love that burns, like a consuming fire that just intensifies the desire. Manner 3 is love that tastes, experiencing a sweetness, a delight in this love.
So wound, burn, taste.
And manner 4, love that melts. This is where the self starts to dissolve, like tenderness breaking down hardness. It's surrender.
Wow. So these first 4 are all very internal, very feeling-based.
Exactly. Mapping the inner landscape of the soul's encounter with men.
But starting with a wound, isn't there a risk of just, romanticizing suffering? How did Beatrice handle that?
That's a crucial point. For Beatrice, the suffering, the longing, the wound, they aren't the problem. They're necessary.
Necessary how?
She sees the wound not as damage, but as an opening, like a crack where the light, the men, can actually get in.
Ah, so the brokenness is the entry point.
Yes. Yeah. It's this paradox, accepting that inner fracture is the path.
Yeah.
And TATANKA, the artists, they really picked up on this. You hear it in the early tracks.
How so?
Well, the sound design can be quite spatial, almost a bit jarring sometimes. It creates this feeling of being exposed, maybe even pierced. It sonically renders that opening.
Okay, that makes sense as a translation choice. So after these intense inner experiences, wound, burn, taste, melt, where does the journey go?
It shifts outward. Manners 5, 6, and 7 become more active, more expansive.
Yeah.
Manner 5 is love that runs and does not rest. This is active love, like a zeal moving out into the world in service. The inner fire now fuels action.
So it can't be contained anymore.
Exactly. Which leads to manner 6, love that cannot be contained. It's overflowing, beyond measure.
And the final one?
Manner 7, love that is all-consuming. This is union, where the separation between the lover and the beloved dissolves. Only love remains.
Okay, so there's a clear arc. Inward awakening, then outward expression, culminating in union.
That structure is vital. Internal passion ignites external action.
So now the big question, How do you take that whole medieval mystical map and make it resonate as a 21st century album? This is TATANKA's challenge.
And they were really clear about their goals. This wasn't about just setting old words to new music.
Right, they said translate, not replace.
Exactly. They wanted to shift the experience from being, intellectual to just knowing the 7 categories to something felt, something bodily.
So finding sounds for feelings.
Pretty much. Using things like ambient textures, deep bass frequencies, those big cinematic swells, tools to create a tangible sense of moving through these states.
And making the archaic immediate, as they put it. The language of many might feel old, but that core human yearning.
That's timeless.
Right.
So they had to find a contemporary sound, a modern idiom for that ancient hunger.
And another really important choice they made was about the voice, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Centering a divine feminine voice throughout the album.
Why was that significant?
Well, it's a conscious act of restoration, really. Bringing the female authorship, the female spiritual authority of Beatrice, right to the forefront. Giving her insight a living, audible presence today.
Resisting any kind of modern, maybe masculine co-opting of her vision.
Precisely. But then there's the most, let's say, controversial element.
The technology, the AI.
Right. They explicitly mention using AI tools, things like ChatGPT, Meta.ai, other audio algorithms as part of their composition process. And they call
Instruments of devotion. Okay, hold on. That's a big statement. AI, which is based on algorithms and data, calling that devotional. Didn't they get pushback? Does it risk making something profound feel mechanical?
They definitely anticipated that criticism. And their argument actually loops back to Beatrice herself.
How so?
They point out that Beatrice used the vernacular Middle Dutch, which was her era's accessible technology, to democratize mysticism.
Okay.
So TATANKA argues that AI and digital production are, in a way, the vernacular of our time. They're the tools available now.
So the tool itself isn't inherently sacred or profane. It's about the intention behind its use.
That's their core argument. If the human intention is devotional, then the tools, even coded ones, can serve a sacred purpose. They're saying technology doesn't have to alienate us. It can actually be an avenue for sacred art.
Reframing AI as just another medium like paint or stone or, well, vernacular poetry.
Exactly. And they basically say, listen to the album. That's the proof.
All right, let's do that. Let's dive into the music itself. How did they map these 7 manners onto the tracks? You mentioned a sonic arc.
Yes, a very deliberate arc moving from, say, ignition and yearning through ascent and transformation to overflow and finally union.
Okay, let's take manner 1, the wound. How did that sound?
That opens the album. It's the track, the flame of devotion. And right away you get this very spatial, almost trance-like feel. It's vast.
It's the wound itself.
It's in the lyrics. They describe it physically. A spark strikes the heart. A wound without blood. A fire without smoke. It's presented as an ignition, not just damage.
A fire without smoke.
Yeah.
Evocative. Okay, and then manner 2, the burning, the restlessness.
That becomes the hunger of longing. And this is where that contemporary translation really hits hard. The lyrics directly connect that medieval spiritual hunger to, well, modern emptiness. The singer talks about how all the things that used to hit don't do shit. And getting caught scrolling through the same old flow. It explicitly links that deep restlessness to the feeling of digital numbness or consumer dissatisfaction.
That line about scrolling, yeah, that lands. It makes Beatrice's idea about the fading of earthly sweetness feel incredibly current. Like digital burnout is a symptom of misplaced spiritual longing.
That's exactly the connection they're making, that restlessness we feel. Maybe it's just looking for its true object.
Okay, moving through the arc. What about that shift from inner feeling to outer action? Manner 5, love that runs and does not rest. The zeal, the service, how does that sound?
That's where you start to hear more rhythmic complexity, an increase in tempo sometimes. The tracks associated with this outward phase often have these driving, almost cinematic percussion elements.
Suggesting movement?
Yeah, dynamic shifts that feel like propulsion, like the spirit is being actively compelled outward into the world, not just sitting in contemplation. It preserves that momentum from Beatrice's map.
Makes sense. Let's jump to manner 4, the melting or surrender. That track is called the Alchemy of Grace.
Right. And here the soundscape tends to soften, become more enveloping. It feels like being held almost.
And the lyrics.
They focus on transformation, being reshaped. There's this line, shaping clay from stone and sand. But what's really striking here is a linguistic choice.
Oh.
They include a whole verse sung in Hindi. Prem mujhe badalta hai.
Which means?
Love changes me.
Ah, so broadening it out. showing this isn't just a 13th century Flemish Christian thing, but a universal experience.
Exactly. Demonstrating that min, or prem, this transformative love, transcends culture and time. It's a really effective touch.
Okay, and finally, the end of the journey. Manner 7. Love that is all-consuming. The union. The track is the eternal embrace.
And the sound reflects that. It becomes very unitive, vast, spacious, like boundaries are dissolving.
And the lyrics echo Beatrice?
Directly. They emphasize that dissolution of separation. Nothing remains but love. Flame joins flame, sea folds into sea. The production really gives you that feeling of arrival, completion, rest.
It's quite a journey they've mapped out sonically. So, bringing it back to the listener, someone might be thinking, okay, interesting history, cool music, but why should I care? What's the takeaway relevance?
I think the relevance is actually quite profound. Beatrice's map, especially as TATANKA renders it, gives us a language of vocabulary for feelings we definitely have today.
Like what?
Like that digital loneliness we mentioned.
Yeah.
Or just a general existential ache, a sense of restlessness. The seven manners name that deep inner thirst.
And crucially, they don't pathologize it.
Exactly. They frame it not as a flaw, but as the engine for transformation. That ache is actually a sign you're oriented towards something more. TATANKA gives that ache a sound, a voice.
And the sources even included a kind of how-to guide for listening, didn't they? Treating it less like casual listening and more like an experience.
Absolutely. They recommend listening from start to finish, obviously, to follow that intended arc, the ignition, the yearning, the ascent, the union. And importantly, use headphones. The spatial mixes are apparently key. They design them to feel like the interior of the heart.
A 3D sound field for the soul's journey.
Something like that. And they also encourage repeating tracks. Apparently there are hidden layers, subtle sounds, whispered bits that you only catch on repeat listens.
Mirroring how interchange takes time and repetition.
Precisely. It's designed for active engagement, not just background sound.
So it's this blend of ancient wisdom and contemporary art, done responsibly by crediting Beatrice and explaining the context.
Yeah, they really seem to have bridged that gap thoughtfully without erasing the original source. It feels like a genuine, respectful adaptation.
Okay, so we've journeyed from that 13th century convent, followed Beatrice's map of holy love, and landed in a 21st century digital studio with TATANKA. It's all connected by this timeless human search for love, for meaning.
It is. Which leaves us, and you listening, with one final thought to chew on.
Go.
Beatrice used the common language, the vernacular, to make the mystical accessible in her time. TATANKA uses AI and digital tools, arguably the vernacular of our time, for the same goal.
Okay.
So the question is, does translating the intense intimacy of man into these universal, often digital sonic textures inevitably lose something vital from Beatrice's specific world? Or does this project actually prove their point? Can technology, code, algorithms, can they genuinely serve as vehicles, even sacraments, for profound spiritual experience today?